All right. So let me hit Deuteronomy 32. This will be a part 2. The serpent is a man, a race of people. That's why it reiterates it in Revelations 12. Though his words be as smooth as butter. There was a scripture I was finna go to. It just left my head. Though he go crouching and he humble himself, though his words was smooth as butter, war was in his heart. Okay. There was a scripture I was finna run to. Lord willing, it come back to me. All right. Dealing with the attributes of Esau, Edom. He was a liar. He was a murderer from the beginning. All right. And when you go into the word trees and plants and vines and boughs, branches are likened unto the seed and children and people. Right. So the trees in the garden represented 3 different classifications of nations of men. And Adam and Eve represented the righteous vine. All right. Then you had the other nations, which were the rest of the trees in the field. Then you had the serpent, the fruit. Okay. A man is known by his fruit, by his ways. Okay. So let's get Deuteronomy 18 and 11 real quick, because I had a substantial scripture that I needed to go to right now, but it just left my mind. I'm freestyling this. It's Deuteronomy 18 and 10. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire. And that's a common thing now. In the ancient world, it was literal fire, sacrificing your children. Now it's more figuratively, spiritually. The majority of these fucking people, man, when they have children to hope that their children gets rich, makes it in this world so they can benefit. And to be something in this world, really, you got to sell out, man. And it ain't about getting a rap contract. You got all kind of people that sold out for the American dream, for a whorish prostitute wife, a job, money, recognition, fame. You got people that have sold their soul for fame without the riches, man. And that's a bad thing, man. Shit. Once you ain't popping no more, niggas commit suicide, get on drugs. Weirdos, man. All right, so that's a common practice, man. Or that uses divination. Yeah, you tap it into the left hand. All right. Or observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch. Now, the Lord gave us the times, the moon, the stars, as an observer of times. That's all we need to know. There is a hidden knowledge of astrology. Speaks about in, I think it's Revelation 22 or 21. That knowledge, the Lord took away from us on this side. All right. Tree of life and all of that. The infinite knowledge, knowing everything just through the spirit and all that stuff. That's, how the elements work, how to manipulate the elements. That's gone right now. The sons of God are in a fallen state, but we're coming back to it. Obedience has to be proved and approved first. Then we're going to get to all that. That's next. Hunting season is next. This is fishing season. We teaching right now. Right? Observer of time. So we use it for wisdom. When does the new moon come in? Keep the Sabbath. The high holy days. Okay, you people, you've been told Christmas, Easter, all these different things, the birth of the Lord, the day the Lord died, all this different shit. So you're doing witchcraft, you're doing wickedness. Okay, you've been enchanted by the serpent. But we use these things for its wise purposes. We know when the Passover come in by the new moon, the newness of the year, when the new year comes in by the moon cycle. All right, observer of times, or enchanter, or a witch, or charmer, or consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard or necromancer. Yeah, you niggas, oh yeah, the ancestors, nigga. Well, your ancestors are the Hebrew Israelites, all right, which is a nation of prophets, which is a small remnant, and we know that Israel always persecuted the prophets. But you niggas don't even claim Israel. You claiming the African ancestors, some bug outs, some heathens, some pagans. Okay, that's what I was gonna get. Let me just get this real quick, because the serpent doctrine is likened unto venom. And venom, it don't always have to kill you right away. It could be a slow kill. It could toxify you. It could just do damage. And you people are drunk off of the venom of the so-called white man pertaining to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. And he's able to get you drunk, give you the bottle, and stand back and point the finger and look at your nakedness and accuse you before the Lord. That's what the devil would do. They show you that in them old cartoons. This is Deuteronomy 32. That's what he did with Adam and Eve. In 32, for their vine is the vine of Sodom, and the fields of Gomorrah, their grapes are the grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter, their wine, which is their doctrine, you get drunk off wine and strong drink, is the poison of dragons. Yes, snakes, right? Right? This is not literal. It's talking about their doctrine. It tells you in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, that the man transgresseth by wine. His doctrine, the way the so-called white man transgresses against the Lord is by the way he teaches. Okay, doctrine means what you learn. All right. Their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asps. So it's very poisonous. Okay, 31. For their rock is not our rock. Just talking about the other nations, starting with the chief enemy nation of the Israelites, the sons of Jacob. Okay, which are the Edomites, the so-called white race. So their rock is not our rock, even our enemies themselves being judged. Their rock, their foundation is Sodom and Gomorrah. They're profane, man. They're against the ways of the Lord. That's why homosexuality is a prominent thing. That's not supposed to be a prominent thing, an acceptable thing. Okay? So going back to Deuteronomy 18 and 11. Okay? So we're not supposed to be dealing with this witchcraft, man. All right? You got rebellion, which is the sin of witchcraft according to the scriptures, and then you got wisdom. Which wisdom is a gift from the Lord. It comes from on high. I'm not talking about wisdom you go to college. If you're keeping the wise, the spirit of wisdom, you don't have to worry about left hand, okay, witchcraft, rebellion, because there is some perks to it. You could put people under spells, enchantments, kind of get your way on this side, temporal. But then Satan always comes to collect. But you can have all of that with just a little bit of patience through wisdom. Because witchcraft might seem to be wisdom, but it doesn't go to the length of wisdom. Wisdom created the stars, the heavens, us, the elements, the molecules, the atoms, okay, spiritual power, even things unseen, all right? The things that are unseen are greater than the things that are seen in this world, man. Just the Lord didn't give you the eyes to see the spirit realm. You got certain animals that could tap into, they can see, spiritual things with their physical eyes, man, or they can feel. Okay? And that's what, that's what we're called to do, be able to feel and see. Let him that have eyes to see and ears to hear. It's going to take a little extra, bro. It's going to take Yahweh Shem Yah Shai, right? So let's look up this word charmer. I'm going to just read it, okay? The word charmer is chabar, specifically by means of spells, okay? That's why we have to go into the meaning of words, because this new modern English is not the old English, which the Moors created, the Negro created, which was more accurate. It was better. It wasn't about catching spells. Come to find out, a lot of these words, when you say, like, breakfast, you're breaking a fast, right? You're not supposed to break your fast. Really, breakfast shouldn't be a thing. Breakfast is the beginning of the day where you're supposed to build your immune system up, or just let your body detox itself. You're not supposed to flood your body, There's so many words that actually have negative objective meanings, and you were saying for years that actually cast spells. Understand. Nah, you should understand, right? There's vibration on these words, right? That's why the Lord said, trust in my words, for they are spirit and truth and life. They're alive, right? Life and death comes from the, what you say, which is deeper than that, okay? What you focus, what your spirit is set on, what you meditate on. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. You give attention and you give credence over the negativity and that energy, okay? What comes from the mouth comes from the abundance of the soul. You start to attract those things. Nigga culture, you're going to attract niggas, man. All right? So it says, for all these are an abomination unto the Lord. You see? So now that we've established that, Okay. Charmer means spells to fascinate. Draw irresistibly the attention. Fascinate. The word fascinate means to draw irresistibly the attention of interest. Okay. They set up a dude like Michael Jackson, pay him millions of dollars. The enchantment is what he did to his body. The way he moved. That homosexual, that's just one etch of men in a society to accept being feminine because, oh, look, Michael Jackson, the famous king of pop. But look at the way he moves. Look at the way he talks. Look at his spirit. It's all vanity. It's all folly. It just opens you up to be more what? Feminine. Look at these rappers. Look at the rap culture. Gradually, okay, you women were enchanted to take your clothes off. That wasn't always a thing. Through the television shows, through the rap, through the media, through certain celebrities, you thought they just made it from the bottom up. No, they were handpicked to take their clothes off, and they might not start it off like that. Little Kim's, they might start off in a movie just an actor, some positive role, and then what? All of a sudden they make a song half naked. The point is the demon that's within it, the deity that's going to travel through that channel on that TV, through the media. Okay? And it's going to go into your psyche. And if you don't have if the Lord ain't with you, man, you just going to compile all of these demons to the point where you have a legion on you. Now you're homosexual. Now you painting your face up with all this makeup. You already look beautiful, but you want surgery. Now you look like a tranny. Okay? You got a legion of demons on you, man. These women, they can't even find their way back, man. They've just taken on all the venom, the poison, all right? You've been bitten by the serpent, and now you're just too corrupted. You need an exorcism. You need the Lord to get the majority of them spirits off of you. And then you got to do the first works, and the rest of them will come off after time. But a lot of you ain't willing to go through that because it's going to be a purge. Adversity is going to get that off of you. That's how the Lord's going to correct you, man. The straight gate, path of difficulty, right? Okay, so to fascinate, to charm, everything they present to you is a charm first. Okay, eat this, buy that. Then you find out to get your ass cancer. You know what I'm saying? Okay, get your butt done. You figure out that shit, bitches done went back to the spirit realm over that. You should see the celebrities do it. Kim Kardashian. To draw irresistibly the attention of interest, admiration, often a way that feels spellbinding, enchanting, or irresistibly charming. Okay? This is a kingdom of enchantments. This whole empire, America. All right? It was once a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Get your ass out of here. Just for the movie. This place was never a righteous, God-fearing country that was set up by the Lord to be the beacon of light towards the world. That's not what this place was set up for, man. It was set up to deceive the earth. Okay? The mother of harlots, as the scriptures call this place, that has caused all the nations to fornicate. As a matter of fact, let's get that. All right, because fornication pretty much is mother of harlots. It's rebellion. So whether you physically you sleeping with a man's wife or a woman has a husband and she's sleeping around, that's fornication. That's adultery, which is an abomination. Okay, worthy of death, right? But then the spiritual fornication of it is, man, come on, bro. You committing adultery on the Most High. You're breaking that what's supposed to be a marriage. You stepping out with these other philosophies and doctrines and idols and religions and gods and you know. So America was an example to the world of how to rebel against the Lord. how to do wickedness, and now the nations are angry. Okay, Revelation 17 and 5. So people are angry, but they don't have a solution. All right, the only antidote for the venom you've consumed is the anti-venom, which is the spirit. Not reading the Bible, not going to church, not setting up yourself a pastor or something. It's the literal gift that only the Lord can give from heaven. But that's already predestined. You can't choose the Most High. He's chosen us. As it says in John, forget what chapter that is. So this is Revelation 7 and 1. My bad. It's supposed to be a 17. And see, you people, you can't get around this. You can't buy the spirit. You can't be cool to get it. All right, you got to really put in the work. All right. You have to be in your own mind. Okay, convinced in your own mind. How you gonna be convinced if you ain't got the faith? If you've been lied to, you've been deceived. You don't believe that there's a reward at the end of the tunnel. You don't believe there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You don't believe there's an alternate, option. You just gonna believe the devil, listen to the devil? Or you? Wow, we get it. I actually get it. What other choices do you have, right? All right, you're perplexed. I don't know if I uploaded that lesson I just did with that, right? This is Revelation 17 and 5, right? And upon her head was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great. This is America, man. This is a parable, the mother of harlots, because a harlot is a prostitute. And in a spiritual sense, if you go outside of the ways of the Lord, you're a prostitute to these demons, Satan, which is set up to be the adversary. Satan works for the Most High on his left-hand side. So here it is, the Most High sends Satan after your ass. You just proved the Lord's point, that you ain't right. You deserve to be judged and destroyed ultimately. The righteous are going to prove the Lord's point, just like Job. Oh, well, shit, we don't take heed to Satan, even if it means death, whether we live or die. Okay? The mother of harlots. So America has exposed the world. As the scriptures say, woe unto him that divide the spoil with fools, with the wicked. This nation was established by rape, rob, against the children of Israel, the people of the Most High. And everybody said, well, look, let us just get our cut out of it. Now, the same serpent done turn on you people, and now you want to sing Kumbaya. No, nigga. Woe unto you. Okay, destruction unto you. The mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. Christianity, democracy, harlotry, feminism, all of this foolishness, folly was taught to the world, to these other nations that now are finally waking up that way is not a good way. And they're mad at America because all of these nations that accepted that doctrine, their women are out of order. They're having financial problems. They're having demonic issues. Okay, they're plagued, man. The society is plagued, man. And we're not making this up. This is fact, right? Okay. So going back to the word enchantment, right? Because right here in the second verse, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So not only the inhabitants of the earth, the peasants, but the leaders of all of these nations, man, that are in league with the so-called white man, the small hats. And they're not the real JOOs. So let's go back to Isaiah 47, because that's what this nation is. You've all been deceived. So this place is not, the Lord's not going to heal this place. All right. This is Isaiah 47 and 12. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries. And we already established what the word sorcery is dealing with. Okay. Pharmakia in Revelations, I don't know right here. I should look it up right here. But in Revelation 18, sorcery is dealing with the word pharmakia, is where you get the word pharmacy from. Poison, magic. You see? If it works, it works. It works for some things, but it's not going to wholly heal you. A lot of times these medicines work for certain things, but then it creates another problem in the body. Okay, and we're talking about a pseudo cure. These doctrines that go out in the world, they make you feel good for a second, but the end is destruction. the uprooting of family, household, and values and integrity. Now you have a society of sadistic, envious, jealous, crazy people, man. And it took a while for the venom, okay, for the drunkenness to appeal. So stand down without enchantments. That's what the international bankers are doing. Everything you're intaking right now, the commercials, okay, the doctrine, the media, the news, college, you're being lied to. You're being miseducated for the purpose of the elite. All right. All of these declassifications that's supposed to come out, they're still lying to you. They still won't tell you that the chariots of God are the angels, that they're not green Martians, E.T., that whole Hollywood production. Why do you think they put that E.T. ride in Disneyland for years, man? That was one of the most biggest attractions. So that you can continuously be controlled. Because if you knew the Lord was patrolling the skies, bro, you wouldn't be able to be manipulated. You'd have to go back to the prophets. You'd have to get the real understanding from us every time. All right? So stand down with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, from the inception of America. Washington, D.C., the whole layout is all, pentagrams and the owl and all of these Masonic symbols going back to these demons. That's actually controlling these vessels at the top. All right. And this how these people move. Ephesians the 6th chapter. All right. The top 1%, the so-called white man, bro, they channel through these demons. They want the spiritual demon Satan to funnel through them because they don't have the spiritual understanding. They're carnal men. So they don't know that they're working to do the bidding of the Lord on his left-hand side, as it says in Isaiah the 10th chapter. They're just being used and they're going to be discarded. That's where we're at. You Edomites, you're at the end, okay, of your borders. The Lord set bounds around you. You've been used to do all this wickedness all the way going back to the Greeks. That time is about up. You're going to be used this last time to persecute and purge the rebels of our nation that are mini-me's of you. Snakes in the grass, baby snakes. And to judge the world, and then that's it for you. You're going to be brought into slavery as the first fruits of slavery alive. How about that? Get your ass, Wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so be thou shalt be able to profit. So this is how they figure they're going to try to upset prophecy and profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. So the Lord is saying, go ahead and just, stand on that. Stand on your witchcraft. Let's see if you can prevail. It's not going to happen, but hey, in a carnal man's mindset, the Lord is speaking to you like, let's see if it's going to prevail. Let's see if the spirit, if the carnal can overthrow the spiritual, which the Lord set all this shit in motion through the spirit. The beginning of prophecy that, prophecy has been from the beginning to the end. It's already, been set in order. Okay. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels, because now they're not effective like they used to be. A lot of people are waking up. Man, we was all dead sleep at one point. The Spirit of the Lord was doing, spiritual surgery on the elect members to get them out of that dead state, that fallen, zombified state. Now we're here with the truth. Okay? Let now the astrologers, and see, this is why these devils going to have to just come with the sword and come down with great wrath, because they know they only have a short time, and the people that's getting the truth, that it's corrupted their riches, man. All right. It's like a wildfire, bro. A lot of people who ain't even got the truth saying they ain't gonna take the mark of the beast. That's their last stand. The mark of the beast system, the New World Order. That's the devil's last stand, as a hope to upset prophecy, man. But it's not gonna happen. Astrologers, stargazers, the monthly prognosticators. I wanted to get that word, prognosticate. It's a form of left-hand prophecy. Like the Simpsons show, they put these things in the cartoon and then they make them happen, and then you're confused, like, oh, well, I guess there is no real prophecy. I guess, there's somebody at the top just pulling the strings. The Bible was written by men, So everything we're experiencing, the white man wrote it, They're claiming that the actual prophecies are prognostication. That's what prognostication is. And these devils know that, man. That's why one of their methods is hidden in plain sight, to actually put the truth in front of you so that they don't get karma, because they believe in karma, witches and warlocks. but they're still deceptive, so it ain't real, bro. You still gonna get judged, you devils. You think the Lord is stupid? He don't know what you devils doing? He already set you up to do what you do and judge you at the end, right? You see? Stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon you, right? So this is how the so-called white man believes his salvation is in witchcraft, being a warlock. Okay, it says stand down with our enchantments. Now let's look up the word enchanter. From the 12th century, from the Latin incantator. That's where the word comes from, 1200s, meaning a spellcaster, conjuring, or one who sings or recites spells. You know, if you peep out the R&B, right? It was better than this rap shit, but it seemed innocent. But if you listen to the lyrics, like we got some classical pieces. I've been listening to Stevie Wonder, like shit, bro. Mozart and those classical pieces, those were the Israelites. Those were Negroes. They were whitewashed. But even modern times, the great late greats, you know, like Stevie Wonder, man, these are classical pieces, bro. The instruments, playing the piano, the vocals. But when you listen to the words, it's witchcraft, it's enchantments. It don't stop with singing, because this truth is like a song. Okay? Spoken word, just speech in general, man. Right? But if you look at the music, right? You know, the woman wasn't, you know, they weren't so wise to do evil then. So if you listen to a lot of this music, it might seem innocent. You know, nigga might be begging the woman, you know, why'd you leave me? Come back. You stepped out on me. Well, just those key words enlighten the minds of women over the time. Well, what? It's taboo to cheat on our husbands. But here it is. Some of the most famous men are crying about us cheating on our husbands or stepping out. So now the woman has an idea. Well, the men we deal with aren't famous. If you got rich men that are famous that's getting away with getting cheated on, then shit, let's go ahead and do it. When it wasn't even a thought in the woman's mind at first to step out on her husband. It was taboo to blow rod and do stuff like that publicly and speak about certain things. But within the music, what do you got these R&B singers talking about? They're just putting those words, those thoughts, those images into your head, and you start to play them out without even seeing it. It doesn't become so taboo. You're listening to the song, you're saying, hey, where are they doing this at? Well, I guess this is a thing. And the only repercussions is a nigga crying. You see how that shit works, man? These movies has made romance to be adultery. This one dude broke that down. He said, think about it. To be romantic, you know, which comes from Rome, right? And really the Israelite man is the most, you know, we can tap into a woman's emotions. You know, it's good sometimes, right? But that's been tied to adultery, committing adultery, and women stepping out on their men. If you think about all these movie pieces and these books that these women like, they get physically turned on by stepping out on the man they're with a new man. Okay? The word enchanter, right? The root, incantere, to sing, to consecrate with spells. So you could be singing about something so-called positive, or watching something that's supposed to be, the whole thing is centered around something positive, but the visuals and the plantings, the seeds are in the words. You just throw it out there. You know, they had this whole thing years ago where you rewind these celebrities, their rap albums, and then you hear Satan up in there, you know? And believe it or not, these things will affect you. It came out that at these record industries, when these artists record their songs, those songs have to be vetted and screened, right, by the music label, and then sent to a certain room where they produce these CDs. They have to have spells casted over them. So now you look at the so-called black community. They showed you that within that movie called Cloning Tyrone. It's in the food, it's in the water, it's in the air, it's in the music. Okay, now you niggas are batshit crazy, man. And then they say, oh, that's black culture. No, you were scientifically experimented on because you lacked wisdom. You were destroyed. Hosea 4:6. Okay, you've trusted in your wickedness, man. You see? So yeah, we're going to just be able to wrap that up right now. It says to sing, consecrate with spells. And the ER is denoting one to perform the action. So an incanter is somebody that's casting the spells. That's this society, man. That's the so-called white man. You sit there and you listen to the so-called white man speak, bruh. He gonna be lying to you. He gonna come up, even the average white man, this nigga gonna, you asking this nigga where he get his shoes from, this nigga gonna go into college. Why you need to go into college? Ask you, did you go to college? Did you? Because they know their system is meant to indoctrinate you and uphold them into white supremacy. Let's get this last precept. So these are your wives, these are your aunties, these are the people that you deal with. They have a mind after the serpent. They're witches and warlocks. All these people. You don't have to have a wand. And that's the best way that the devil has deceived you people, is to make you believe you got to have a goddamn Mickey Mouse cap on, wizard cap on with a stick in your hand, man. Nah, bro. Listen to what these women are saying. Listen to what these dudes are saying, what they defend, what these people defend, and what they're willing to put up with, man. Okay? It's because the truth is not in them, man. They're delusional. The Lord said I would choose their delusion. The deceived and the deceiver are his. So even Esau, okay? You're the deceiver. Hey, the Lord put that spirit on you. Okay? Proverbs 7:10, and behold, there met him a woman with an attire of a harlot and a subtle heart. Okay? Subtlety, going back to the serpent. That's what the word, we did get the word serpent in Genesis 3:1. A Nakash, wizard or warlock. Okay, well, when you go into one of the attributes of a serpent is subtlety and deception. Okay? Now, we're called to be subtle in wisdom, being able to counteract a serpent, a deceitful person. All right? Being able to see, be circumspect, not deceived by Satan's devices, right? Okay? So this is talking about a woman, but it's also spiritually speaking as well. Because these women are like this. She is loud and stubborn, a harlot. She's just loose. She's for the streets. All right? She's not discreet. All right? Now without, she is now in the streets and lieth in wait at every corner. That's this system. That's the ways of this world. Whether it's money, the riches of this world, whether it's fame, whether it's tribulation, it's all waiting to snare you and corrupt your soul. Again, even these physical women. All right? One second. I just want to make this point. One second. 25. Let not thine heart decline unto her ways. Go not astray in her paths. And what is that? You're going to have to be living by wisdom, faith, not by enchantments and trusting in Pharaoh and, going to counsel with Pharaoh, bro. The counsel is with the men of the Lord. The counsel of the Lord is with his voice, with his men. She has cast down many wounded. Yea, many strong men have been slain by her. So, hey, you could be slain if you want. And with that, man, we're going to wrap it up. Hey, shalom till next time.